Hey yo guys, time for me to give you a review of my WWE No Mercy review and my Elite XC Heat review. I gotta say both shows, both different nights, but both shows were very good, very entertaining in that aspect, and especially with WWE, which I think the key to this for me was there wasn't a lot of expectations going in. I mean, the only thing I was really excited about was the ladder match, and I basically got what I expected out of it, and maybe even exceeded my expectations there. So I think that's the key on shows like that. Don't really have that much expectations and you'll be blown away. That's what really worked for me here. With Elite XC, I was expecting big things, and I got them on all the matches, so we'll just run them down here. I'll run down No Mercy first, since that took last night from the Rose Garden in Portland, Oregon. Gotta say, as I said, this was a very good pay-per-view. Definitely top 5 WWE pay-per-views this year. Nothing too big you can complain on. I mean, the only thing you can really complain on is the second segment they did that they didn't really need. But that's one thing and maybe Candice Michelle's in-ring work. But anyways, let's run through it. We started out with a weird video package from 1950s footage. I didn't think you needed that. I didn't understand it at all, but maybe I wasn't listening enough or paying attention. But anyways, we went to the first match, which was the ECW Championship match. Matt Hardy defending against Mark Henry. Big change here on the announcer side with Lawler and replacing Matt Striker due to the fact that Matt Striker's had a family emergency, so my best wishes go out to the whole Striker family, and he was truly missed on this show for that, because him and Grisham actually have chemistry, and there was just way too much Jerry the fucking King Lawler on this show, so that was just me on that. But this match was actually pretty good. I mean, once again, it exceeded what you expected. It didn't have any high expectations. It exceeded them. Really, I mean, the crowd for Matt Hardy, and they're hot all night. Really, Mark Henry as well has improved. I mean, not in-ring wise, no, hell no, isn't improved there, but the selling aspect he has. I mean, when Hardy went to work on the knee, he was selling that thing beautifully. Basically, once Hardy started making the miracle comeback, as the babyface champion normally does, or the babyface in general normally does, I should say, the crowd was right into it, and then the finish came when Mark Henry was going for the world's strongest slam. Matt Hardy got out of it, hit a twist of fate, and retains the belt. I kind of don't know what they're going to do with Mark Henry now, as it looks like he's done out of the title picture, which is kind of a shame, as I was kind of enjoying him in that role. Yeah, he's a champion, but it's the ECW Championship. Hell, the the Diva title has more prestige than that, but still, they actually put on a match which, exceeded my expectations, as I keep saying, and good stuff there, and, it's kind of a shame that this program does end, but I don't know what they're going to go with here with Matt Hardy. Maybe Hardy Morrison, which I think would be obviously good on both ends. But anyways, moving along here, we went up to a backstage segment with Jeff Hardy and Triple H. Triple H basically saying that the only way thinking Jeff Hardy's going to win tonight is the text messaging poll, and he said he was going to vote for Hardy. Then we went to the next match, which was the Women's Championship match. Beth Phoenix defending against Candice Michelle. This was a very disappointing match. I mean, it wasn't extremely bad, like you couldn't watch it, but Candice is just terrible. I mean, she is just atrocious. Her timing's off. She really, as I stated in the predictions, the Diva division has gone way past Candice Michelle. It's no more about eye candy. It's all about, it's all about in-ring work now, and that's all Beth Phoenix there. I mean, Beth did her best to try and make Candice look, good to an extent, but I mean, Candice has just brought her down so much, but, luckily, I mean, it didn't go that long, but, I mean, it went an okay amount of time, and, the finish came, and it was nice to see Beth win cleanly here, hitting the double arm chicken wing and then the glam slam, and we get more character development between Beth and Santino, especially in the spot where, Beth was distracted by Santino, and, Candice went for the roll-up, and a lot of people did think there was going to be a title change, as that's what they've been doing with Beth Phoenix and Kelly, but we didn't get that, which we thankfully didn't get. Then we went on to the next match, which was the Rey Mysterio mask match. If Rey lost, he had to unmask his match. Really good match here. I mean, considering, a lot of people will hate on Kane, as I stated in the prediction, he can work with the small guys and give them a break. And, these two actually put on a good match. I mean, the only thing that dumbs their match quality down is their retarded storyline. It may be the worst storyline of the year. I don't know, I have to examine a few other storylines, but this one's pretty dumb other than that. But the in-ring work was good. I mean, you know, Kane was damn good. Rey was even kind of busting out WCW Rey with, you know, he had a nice tilt-a-whirl. He was into a bulldog. He even did a moonsault. Very nice match there on that part. But finish was weak. I mean, Rey was making the big comeback, and he went up onto the top rope and went for a cross-body block, and, you know, Kane just pulled out a chair and hit Rey in the head. I mean, it doesn't really make sense since Kane wanted to unmask Rey, and, you know, he just went for a DQ. I mean, you don't settle for a DQ when you're going for a mask. Didn't like the finish at all, but anyways, it was a good little match. I mean, the finish will knock a star rating down by a bit, but that's just my opinion there. Then we went to actually one of the better segments that they've done on pay-per-view. You know, not the best, but, you know, for a thing that it did drag on a bit, but it was good for what it was, and to kill time, which was the main aspect here, which was basically MVP being pissed off that he wasn't on the pay-per-view, complained to Vicky Guerrero, but, you know, Big Show was there. Big Show then said, you know, he's focusing all his energy on Undertaker, and if you keep bugging Vicky and Big Show, that you're gonna Big Show's gonna concentrate all his energy on MVP, which caused MVP to storm off, and then, you know, his music hit. He came out, cut a promo saying that, you know, most sports teams don't, you know, not highlight their star player, you know, the Bulls with Michael Jordan or Cowboys and Sarah Lone, etc., etc., which then, you know, brought Randy Orton out saying that, you know, he hadn't done anything, and, you know, then MVP then said, you know, he's not on Raw and he can punch Randy Orton in the face because, you know, he's not on Raw and doesn't have to abide by Adam Lee's stipulation. And then the Priceless and, you know, Manu came out. Really, when they came out, it was fine for them coming out to continue this thing with Randy Orton, but don't let Cody Rhodes be the leader of on the mic with this group. Yeah, he may be in the E longer, and yeah, his dad may be a bit more legend than, you know, a legend than Manu's and Ted DiBiase Jr.'s, but dude, Ted DiBiase Jr. is the one who should be talking with this group. He can, you know, carry that cocky character well. He doesn't seem to be fazed by the crowd as of late. You know, Cody was clearly flustered when they were chanting boring because they didn't like this segment. They felt like a lot of people will feel, and I will agree with them most of the time, that these segments belong on your television shows. That's why you have them. But this one did work to an extent. And Cody was clearly flustered at all. I mean, when they're chanting boring, he's like, well, Randy Orton, he's not boring. Didn't like that, and then, you know, that set MVP off, saying he'll always remember this conversation, or he was going to this conversation, and this brought out CM Punk and Kofi Kingston, who wanted to have an impromptu six-man. They charged the ring, but Punk and Kofi hold back, sending MVP to the Wolves, where the Priceless and Manu delivered the beatdown. I didn't get that. I would say that was kind of stupid, but whatever. I mean, then you had Kofi and Punk come in to make the save and, you know, brawl. And, you know, everyone's complaining about Punk going after the tag titles. So what? I mean, he's obviously got a program set with him and Randy Orton. So this is just a little thing on the side just to build the storyline and build more characters with not only Punk, but your Priceless faction and, you know, Orton. What is so wrong with that? And it adds prestige to the tag belts, which really need them if you have someone who is a former world champion in Punk, a former IC champion in Kofi, and, you know, one of the hottest stars in Raw in Kofi as well. So I mean, you can even throw MVP as a babyface to be their guy down the line. I don't know what they'll do, but we'll see there. Anyways, moving on to the next match, which, you know, actually it was a blessing we had a long segment that did go a bit too long, but it was a blessing, which was JBL versus Batista for the #1 contendership on Raw. This was basically a squash match, but I mean, JBL got his offense in, but Batista beat him in pretty much 5 minutes. That was about it, which was good. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, it was better than we expected with Batista actually working hard. And I mean, a lot of people are saying Batista, oh, he phones it in. Batista hasn't phoned a match in since WrestleMania 24. Yeah, it was the biggest stage of the year, but come on, he's brought his game this year so far. But yeah, this was 5 minutes, and, you know, better for that, and, you know, it makes Batista look like the credible champion. And then we went to a segment here with JBL on the mic, which was just so dumb. I mean, he's talking about the economy, which is a big issue with me and, you know, a lot of people in the world, but most wrestling fans don't give a shit because they only care about pro wrestling, and I don't know, any whatever their other interests are. They don't really care about the issues in the world. Most of them don't. And then this brought Crime Time on the video wall stealing the limo, and you had all the divas come out, and then you had Sergeant Slaughter come out, so he'd been popping his blue pill. But anyway, after that we went to a pretty surprising match. As I said, I had low expectations, I get surprised, which is Undertaker versus Big Show, and this match was surprisingly good, as I stated. Really, there was good psychology in this one with, Big Show using the big, body shots to work over Taker. There was a sweet spot where, Taker hit this amazing DDT out of nowhere. But, the finish, I don't think the finish worked to the extent as what they wanted it to. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but the WWE audience isn't that big with the MMA finishes. The MMA finishes work well in Ring of Honor because I think Ring of Honor fans are more complex and will watch, broader horizons of sport as opposed to, just pro wrestling, and, Danielson will get it over well, but I don't know, I mean, Big Show, I mean, they don't even pop when Taker puts on a clot out, but still, I mean, Show ripped off the turnbuckle pad, rammed Taker's head in there, and hit 2 shots to the back of the head. I mean, it was kind of confusing because it was to the back of the head and I thought Show got DQ'd. It'd have been more effective if, Show had hit him in the face, because that would have just been, oh shit, he just knocked out Undertaker cold again. So that builds more credibility. It was to the back of the head. It could have been disqualification as, maybe WWE adopted the unified mixed martial arts rule. Would have been interesting there. But, it didn't play off that well, but I think what Taker did after they showed the replay with he's selling it, like not knowing where he was, needing to get helped up by using the ring ropes, and, seeming disoriented when he was walking up the entrance ramp. So that worked out for me. And then here we go to the 2 best matches on this show, which make this pay-per-view stand out more than most pay-per-views. And it's the WWE Championship first, defending against Jeff Hardy. This just was maybe Triple H's best match in 5 years, which is a statement from a guy who is among the few who hate Triple H with a passion. So I will give Triple H props. He worked so well in this one, actually maybe giving Jeff Hardy a bit of a break here. I mean, Jeff, the crowd was so into Jeff, and Triple H too. I'm like, that's not taking anything away. They were into Triple H as well. Triple H basically, the advantage throughout the match, being the YG crafty veteran, that's what they were working towards, where, had Jeff do a somersault plancha to the floor and miss, and then, Triple H was in control. And then, Jeff made the comeback. He did eventually hit the somersault plancha. Jeff went for a swanton, misses, looks like Triple H is going to get the pedigree. No, Jeff rolls out, hits a twist of fate, hits a swanton. People did believe that there was going to be maybe a chance of a tie. I didn't see it, but, he hits the swanton. Triple H then, when the 2 counts coming, after the 2 count, it looks like it could be 3. Triple H reverses it inside, into a side backslide, if you get what I'm saying there, and, gets a 3 count. So it made Jeff look still credible, like he got beat once again at the last split second. So, they can probably do a title change, where Jeff eventually counters it. And, it's kind of how Jeff beat Triple H at, I believe it was, Armageddon of last year, where, Triple H got taken out of the pedigree into a backslide. So keeps the storyline from, that's maybe a bit too long, but still makes the, and, Jeff doesn't get hurt by this. He didn't eat a pedigree or lose 100% clean there. So yeah, and then we go to the next match, which is, a match of the year candidate. Both guys, I mean, this is one I had high expectations. Mine were here, as I just stated. Great match here. Ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho defending against Shawn Michaels. A lot of spots here, a lot of crazy spots here. Maybe they should, get rid of that teeter-totter spot, as, it fucked up Joey Matthews' face bad, like real bad, and, it fucked up Jericho's mouth in this show. It actually broke one of his teeth, I should say, so that's maybe they gotta retire there. But, they were doing some sick spots here. It wasn't a major spot fest. It was just more, they were using the ladder to deliver these impact blows, and they were actually using the ladder to beat the guys up. There was a spot where it looked like Jericho was going for a belly-to-back suplex. Michaels reversed it into a crossbody through the SmackDown announce table. There was a spot where they normally have tables set up. Like, if you remember the first TLC on Raw, or the only TLC on Raw to my knowledge, I still remember, but anyways, Jericho's climbing the ladder, and you had Spike Dudley come pick the ladder up, and, Jericho just falls through and goes through tables, clean on his back, no problem. Well, there's no tables here. Michaels picks the ladders up. Jericho, woo, he just falls all the way down, on his leg, taking the brunt of that, which, it could have been a Sid Vicious moment there. Really, though, then that led to Michaels going up, climbing up, yet Jericho slowly, he was hurt with his leg for sure, make his way back to the ring. He had Lance Cade come out, which, was good here because, Lance coming out, it's going to give all the heat back to Jericho. It's obviously not going to go to Lance as much as they'd maybe like. It's all going to go to Lance. Lance keeps pulling Michaels down. Michaels crossbodies Cade. Jericho looks like he's going to get the belt. Both guys, Michaels eventually gets back up. They both have a tug of war for the belt. And then Jericho headbutts Michaels off, grabs the belt, and smiles and kind of looks like Chris Benoit there, but whatever. Overall, easy match of the year candidate. Top 3 WWE matches this year. Yes, easily match of the year. Good show overall. Thumbs up. Then we over to the world of mixed martial arts with the Elite XC Heat Show, which took place Saturday night from the Bank Atlantic Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Really, this was a good show. Haven't seen where the rating comes into play yet, but still, I was really impressed with this show. I think this was the better show that they put on, obviously way better than the second. And I think this even tops the first one, in my opinion. And anyways, we start off with them breaking the news, which, I found out hours before the show, that, Ken Shamrock would not be able to fight due to, having some training, and, an accidental headbutt happened, and the doctors wouldn't let him fight. He needed 6 stitches in his eyebrow, so they wouldn't let him fight. Really, that does suck, but they at least did say that Kimbo was still fighting, but in my opinion, I think you'll lose some viewership when the main event that was supposed to happen didn't happen, so most people kind of turned away. But then we actually had some strong fights on the show. Like, every fight was good on this show, in my opinion, with starting out with the middleweight bout between Benji Radach versus Marella Ninja Hua. Really, this was a good fight between, the Pride veteran and Rua and the former IFL veteran of Radach here. Both guys came out swinging in the opening minutes of the first round. Throwing these bombs. And, most people with Radach's, because Radach has some of the best power in the world, would probably go down and be an early end of the fight. Well, I'll give the Ninja credit here. He weathered the storm, was able to stand on his feet, and delivered some bombs of his own, which, kind of surprised me, because a couple times I thought he was done. There was even a spot in this match where they both threw bombs and both guys went down, almost that double knockout spot, which you've probably seen earlier this year. But no, the Ninja kept its ground standing, and he even tried some heel hooks in trying to turn the round around, but I just felt that Radach had good cage control and was able to get out of these heel hook attempts, and the bombs were effective. Really, the second round was then, basically Ninja trying to get the pace back more into his favor. It looked like he was having it, but he lost his balance when trying to throw a front kick, and, Radach caught him 3 times, twice when he was grounded. I would have stopped it a little before after the second shot, but that was it. Good night, Ninja, and, Benji Radach gets the victory here. And in a very impressive fight. In my opinion, this was fight of the night of the whole card overall. Then we move on to the women's bout, which was Gina Carano versus Kelly Kobald. Really, though, this, as compared to the other bout with Cyborg, not as good as apparently Cyborg, the Japanese lady, I cannot remember at this time, was fight of the night. But this was a good fight as well. This just goes to show that, Gina Carano has a very improved game. She's terrible when it comes to wrestling, because Kobald was a great wrestler, but she was able to stop these takedown defenses. She was just great on the takedown defense. It was actually kind of surprising that Kobald couldn't get her down, since I think Kobald may have had the power, in my opinion. Great takedown defense. The first round was all Gina. She delivered these great strikes, and busting Kobald open will win me there. Then, the second round, Gina didn't capitalize on the advantages she'd had in the first round there, so, Kobald was able to bully Gina into the corner there, into the cage in the clenches, and, deliver some nice shots, but overall, she really didn't capitalize in the third round. Gina cinched it in the third round with some nice strikes and a big kick to, I believe it was to the head, and, get the 28-29, in my opinion, decision. She got a split decision, or she got a unanimous decision, I should say, which, my scorecard was 29-28 Carano. Then we move on to the heavyweight bout, which is You know, a lot of people saying this is a bad fight and god-awful. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it didn't have the, you know, big sizzle as, you know, most of the fights on this show, especially the main event. It actually was pretty good. I mean, I think I was surprised, you know, I mean, how well Big Country Roy Nelson was able to keep his composure and, you know, keep bully Arlovski into the cage. I thought Arlovski, first of all, would have just, you know, quickness, you know, speed, ability to get some nice inside leg kicks, which eventually did in the second round, but I thought he would have been able to do that first, you know, end this one pretty early, but, you know, that there, we actually got, you know, not Rothwell, Big Country Nelson, Roy Nelson there, bullying Arlovski in the corner, delivering some nice strikes, you know, and winning that round, in my opinion, having great cage control. So I went 10-9 Nelson the first round. Second round, though, completely was the Andre Arlovski you saw on the Affliction show. Came out, speed, quickness, those inside leg kicks, and, you know, which obviously got Nelson, you know, trying to protect the leg, and he left himself open, and there were two big punches, one beautiful uppercut by Arlovski, and, you know, knocking him down for a TKO. Arlovski's looking really strong here, and it looks like he's obviously the most suitable opponent for Fedor Emelianenko on the January 17th Affliction show, unless they change the date, which, if I'm them, I would do, since UFC's announced UFC 93 will be then. And then we move on to the welterweight title match, which was Jake Shields defending against Paul Semtex Daly. You know what, this was a good fight overall, too. I mean, it played out exactly how I said it would in the predictions, where, you know, eventually Shields would get you onto the ground and, you know, ground and pound and go for the submission, where Daly was the better striker, and, you know, when he kept it standing, he had this thing in his control, but it was just a matter of time, like I said, and, you know, Shields dominated, you know, the entire fight, basically. He definitely won the first round, in my opinion, and, you know, he just got the ground and pound. He ground and pounded him after the takedown. He tried for submission, but I'll give Daly credit. He was able to not allow that. The second round started with more, you know, umph out of Daly there, looking like he was going to get the win, you know, trying to get going for a win with a big strike, but, no, the takedown was there. I mean, hell, Daly did a nice takedown defense, and that eventually led to a nice armbar submission, or after the eventual takedown, and then an armbar submission, where, you know, Shields just cranked back on the arm, and, you know, Daly had to submit there, and, you know, Shields retains his title, and proving why he's the second best welterweight in the world, in my opinion. And then we move on to the main event, which was a heavyweight bout between Seth Petrozelli, who replaces Ken Shamrock, versus Kimbo Slice. Now, this one is going to be very interesting because, one, this goes to prove that Kimbo's a fraud. Two, Elite XC may be in some great danger, and three, they should actually, you know, maybe have the ability to utilize the actual talent with your Arlovskis or, you know, some Caranos, or, I mean, they keep doing it with Carano, but now you can have Arlovski, you can bring in maybe Fedor, we don't know, but I think they should do that to this fight. Basically, everyone is expecting Kimbo to just come out there and manhandle Seth Petrozelli. Doesn't happen. Everyone underestimates Seth Petrozelli here. Seth basically, the fight starts, Seth gets his leg up for like a good karate defense and just catches him right under the eye, drops Kimbo, some punches to the face. One was to the back of the head, and, you know, everyone's saying, oh, stopped it there on a disqualification, you know, one punch to the back of the head. I mean, you at least get a warning before anything of that nature is to happen. And, you know, Seth gets the win, and, you know, I believe it was Gus Johnson who was on commentary, you know, who you know from the NFL on CBS, he was absolutely marking out. He's like, Rocky is here! Oh my god! I mean, this just was, you know, a bad situation here for Elite XC, as their biggest star got dropped in 14 seconds. It looks like, to me, everyone has 15 minutes of fame. Well, he had 14 seconds, and he was just sliced and diced in those 14 seconds, was Kimbo. That's how I saw it, really. Potentially what they should do, Kimbo will not, like, go away, but it kind of shows that he is kind of not a good fighter at all. I mean, yeah, he may have learned some ground stuff, but, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was just a lucky punch. I don't really know how to fully grasp this feeling here, but, I mean, Seth Delay obviously, you know, gets elevated into Elite XC. I mean, I think one of the sad things is, Kimbo was a 234-pound heavyweight. Seth Petrozelli, I should say. I think I said Seth Delay earlier, but Seth Petrozelli is a lightweight. He came in at 205 and just beat Kimbo. So, this made Dana White the happiest man in the world since, Seth was a former UFC Fighter Season 2 guy. But really, Elite XC has potential still, though, in my opinion, because they're bringing Arlovski in. That show was mainly more of an Affliction hype show with all the Affliction commercials with Arlovski and, showing the whole Fedor Tim Sylvia fight from Affliction banned. But there's a lot of stuff you can do in there. I still think you can use Kimbo, because he's obviously going to have Ken Shamrock and maybe a rematch, and, utilize Arlovski and more, and, but I don't see Carano defeating Cyborg. But anyways, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.